major theme of today is how do we talk to new customers, or how do we reach into new segments. And the focus has really been on how do we talk to younger customers, or how do we reach new target markets that are younger. But what about women? I think that women are also a massive potential target market that aren't very effectively targeted, certainly within the racing sector. There's a massive skew whereby for online bingo, I think it's something like 60 or 70% female, whereas within sports betting, women are not really very well represented. So actually social media users aren't as young as you think. Over 17% of over 65s are actually on Facebook. And also there's been research done by Michigan State University amongst older women just to ask them, why do they gamble? And actually it's not about money per se. Motivational factors include things like excitement and social reasons. And that's actually quite interesting because it means that social media could be used for retention, and that these customers are more likely to be loyal. I think a massive problem in the sector is churn. The customers come because they get a free bet, because they get a special offer, because you've got the best odds. Whereas with women gamers and women bettors, what they're actually looking for is that social element. They're looking to make new connections, they're looking to have fun. And that really ties into one platform. So if you as a company can provide that to those women, they're not going to leave and go to another site. They're not going to shop around for the best deals because they come there to meet people. So what we're seeing is increasing integration, which is good. So I think we've already established the panic around the way in terms of social media, in terms of mobile, and lots of different areas. So we're seeing that kind of joined up approach starting to creep in. And we're also seeing experimentation. So this is a game that we built for Ladbrokes. It's just a keep you up game, but it shows that there's interesting ways that people are trying to get the most out of social and making little inroads. But also, social ties in with the other areas of your business, so it ties in with SEO. Just as a wee experiment, I did a Google search for the Norwegian and Finnish totes. And these two pages here, this is the LinkedIn page and the Facebook page for the Finnish tote. And you see that there's not very much there at all, but these actually appear in the first page of search results for that company. So that's a massive opportunity to put content in front of your customers, because pretty much they only ever look at the first page of search results. So you get to decide what's going on there, because Google indexes that and Google will put that in front of your users. So it's up to you what actually appears there. But social media, it has to be a two-way conversation. And sometimes you can just ask your customers for engagement. You can say, what do you think? And you can reach out to them in that way. But you have to use the channels in those ways. And if you're not following people on Twitter, then you're not having that two-way conversation with them. I think whenever you're spending anything in marketing or spending anything as a business, you have to make a business case for it. And in social media, conversion is a bit of a tricky issue. Is it a question of conversion? Is it a question of conversation? In any case, what you're doing is you're putting extra people at the top of your sales funnel. There isn't a magic model. I'm not here to tell you that social media is going to take you to your next billion in revenue or your next billion in profit. But it is something that you have to be aware of. And I think already established that conversion rates for games are actually pretty low. So people like Skybet, they've been experimenting with creating games, letting people play them for free on Facebook, and then trying to drive them towards a pay-for game. But generally, conversion rates are so low that this is not worth doing. So the focus is really a lot more on churn. And I think the interesting thing that you brought up when you're talking about social games is that they can be used for education. So for example, with new sectors, so maybe we're talking about women or younger users, you can use gaming to educate them about your sector, and then maybe later on they become more sophisticated users. And the other area of value is that you can actually use these games and use these interactions to capture data about your customers. So for example, if you know that a first name, last name, and an email address has value to you in terms of CRM, then you can get data from your customers. Something that a lot of our clients come to us and say is, we need 1 million fans on Facebook, and we always turn around and say, why you don't have a million potential customers, or they say, where did you get the number 1 million from? And they just say, Red Wolf told me we need 1 million Facebook friends. But actually it's about having an engaged community that actually wants to talk with you, that actually wants to get the input and feedback. And that's a lot more valuable than just having a big number at the top. And you can use existing measures of effectiveness in social in terms of earned media value, so how much it costs us to reach those people on another channel, so in terms of CPM or in terms of viewers on television, how much does that cost? Also in terms of website traffic, and we can do quite sophisticated link tracking. And also customer feedback, if that's valuable to you, then you can measure that. I think we've already established as well that we can't predict the future, but there's certain indications that things are changing. That customers, they're already talking about you on social media whether you're there or not. And customers are increasingly expecting real-time feedback from companies, and they want their views to be noticed and taken into account. Luckily, the tools are there to enable us to segment markets a lot more effectively, so you can have one Facebook page and you can have dynamic content. So if you know that they came from your site and they're looking at horse racing or looking at something else, you can change the content of your Facebook page dynamically. So for example, a woman might see different content on your Facebook page from a man and log in, so that's really valuable. We're also seeing join up analytics. So for example, if somebody perhaps places a bet on your mobile app, then when they come to Facebook, maybe they see updates on the race that they placed the bet on, and you can then quite easily see the value of using social media in these ways. And also in terms of integration with the wider CRM system, so that you're keeping track of your customers at all different touch points. And I think lastly as well, we're seeing customers begin to shape services, so sites like Bettable and Smarkets mean that customers can actually shape odds and they can bet with their friends, and it's creating all kinds of new ways and new betting products. So if you're kind of at the start of your journey on social media and you don't know what you have to do, it's still early in the game. I think we've already said that there's not a lot of really incredible case studies within the sector of companies doing really well. I would recommend to start with monitoring, so going out there, find out which of your customers are talking about you on social, where they're talking about you, is it on their own website, is it on different forums, and what are they saying about you? I would also recommend a staff social media policy, so that your current employees and your past employees are saying about your company online, and that you know that they have certain responsibilities towards the company and social media. Also in terms of strategy and content plans, so what do we want to achieve from this? What can we expect from social media so that you can measure whether it's effective? And maybe starting with a small trial activity rather than signing up for all different platforms at once and trying to manage everything at once. And that's just 30 seconds.